Oh, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Little Fat Mushy Tove, representing the WCIS. We can inspire someone. OPP, only promote positivity. Shout out to Waterbed shout out to Uncle DV, and shout out to the whole WCIS community. That's all about unity. All right. Hopefully, everybody's feeling good, feeling great tonight. Hopefully, you had a wonderful and productive day. And I want to say thank you for joining me on the show tonight in advance. Tonight is going to be a good show. I had somebody send me a clip and we're gonna get into it. But before we get into the clip, I want what up, Quentin on the IG? What's going on, my brother? You need to come on over to the YouTube, bro. I got a good show for everybody tonight. A great conversation for everybody to get into. Shout out to Laura Guitar. What up? Laura's in the building. My man Tom is in the building. What's going on, Tom? Welcome to the stream. All right. You down with OPP? That's right. Only promote positivity. All right, what up? I love you, baby. Not like I love my guitar. What up, Laura? Guitars in the building. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. And like I said, we got a good show. So now I want y'all to do this for me. It don't cost you nothing. Just hit the like button, hit that thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave the comments because tonight we're gonna be doing a reaction video. A young lady by the name of Ebony K. Williams made a statement recently on I believe it's her talk show. And shout out to Jersey Devil. Shout out to Jersey Devil. Last show I said I wanted people to send me a clip or some clips to react to. And Jersey Devil came through and she sent the clip and she said, look, this is what I want us to react to tonight. So that's what we're going to talk about. And it's a great conversation to have because it's going to touch on a lot of things. What up? Power Recycling is in the building. What up, Power Recycling? Welcome to the stream. It's going to touch on a lot of things that I feel like men and women need to talk about. And all opinions, all points of views are welcomed. And I'm definitely going to give mine because this is a loaded topic. All right. I'm going to wait till a couple of more people get in the stream before I play the video because I don't want to. Nothing much. Power Recycling. How's everything with you, bro? You need to come on over to the YouTube. I want you to watch. I want you to see this video, bro. And I want to hear what you have to say about it. And I think it's a great conversation for everybody to have. Busy day collecting swag, etc. for the celebration. North, June 7th. All right. All right. That's what's up. Laura Guitar representing. Yeah, Jersey Devil definitely sent us a good clip to talk about. I want to make sure that we have a couple more people in the stream before I play the clip, so I don't have to play it again. But maybe I'll play it. I'll play it again once maybe we get to the halfway point and there's more people in the stream. But I don't even want to give you a prerequisite. I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to give you a heads up of what we're talking about. Bro, we've been internet cool since the Ustream days. Absolutely. So now come get YouTube cool, bro. Come get YouTube cool. Go to YouTube, type in WCIS1. All right. WCIS1 on YouTube. I'm streaming live right now. And it's a different type of show now, but the same, same entertainment, good quality. And yeah, we're gonna get into a good conversation tonight. So Power Recycling. Let me know if you want to come through. When you come through, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you can see when we going live. All right. But what up, my main man Manny Callow is in the building. What up, Manny? What's going on, my brother? How you doing? Congratulations to you and wife and kids. I see you having a nice little vacation in Hawaii, bro. God bless. I hope you had a wonderful time. I visited Hawaii once and it was beautiful. I'll tell you that much. It was beautiful. I hope you had a great time. You should come on over to the YouTube because we got a good conversation tonight. I'm gonna play a clip on the show tonight. And it's about a young lady saying who she would and she would not date. And I think it's leading to a whole lot of problems in the world that we live in today. It's people living in this world of disillusion, you know. And it actually connects. It connects very well with some of the topics we were talking about last episode. We were talking about Mr. and Mrs. Right. So I'm happy that Jersey Devil sent me this clip because they definitely coincide with one another. Shout out to Jersey Devil. Thank you so much for taking time out and sending me the clip. You know what? If people want to catch up on it, maybe I'll play it again. But I think I'm going to go ahead and bring up the clip. All right. So y'all let me know if y'all can hear. Once I start to play it, y'all let me know if y'all can hear it. Everything sounds good. If it doesn't, let me know. And then, you know, periodically I'll jump in and give my thoughts on what we're watching. But I'm pretty much going to try to let it run all the way through. So let me add the video to the stream right now. All right. So, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think, okay?
Single Black mother, and I'm going to get to the statistics on single Black motherhood and family life. But she was, by definition, more of a father figure in terms of providing and protecting. And I think that's very common. So according to the U.S. Census, Iyanla, 23% of households in the country are single parent households, and we know 80% of them are led by women. How does this affect the child? Both little girls, little boys, non-binary children. How does that frame their expectation of women when the mother is in charge?
It all depends on what the mother or the woman demonstrates about being a woman. If she's demonstrating that it's hard and it's rough and nobody's helping me and I got to do this and you got to do it this way, then that's what the children are going to get. If she's angry because she's alone, if she's desperate because if she's not conscious, if she's not careful. I mean, when I look at the damage that I did to my children, not being clear about who I am as a feminine expression of the chief architect and creator of the universe. When I understand that I didn't know that and how to tap into that and the damage I did to my children who I love with all my heart. As soon as I discovered how off I was, I confessed it to them and asked them to watch me as I rebuilt who I was. And I'm still very alpha, but I'm in my throne and my crown is straight.
Okay. I'm looking forward to straightening my crown, Dr. Iyanla. Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men in 22 of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards.
All right. Let's stop right there. She said, would you date a bus driver? And we're going to go back to the video, but I wanted to stop right there because when did being a hard-working man become something to be frowned upon? I want to ask that question. She said if she owns the bus, if he owns the bus, that's the only way that she would date a bus driver. There is so many things wrong with that comment. So many things wrong with that comment. The first thing is you are disrespecting the people that actually make the world go round. The people like the garbage men, the bus drivers, the cab drivers, the food delivery service, the plumbers, the electricians, policemen, MTA worker. She's saying that she wouldn't even look at a man, unless he's an owner. Now, I had to do a little research on the young lady, Ebony K. Williams. Now, let's first understand that Ebony K. Now, this is not an attack on her, but this will give you a better idea of maybe why she feels the way that she feels. First of all, Ebony K. Williams, very beautiful, seems to be very successful, very articulate, very intelligent, but she's 40 years old. She doesn't have any children, and she's not married. I wanted to say that because that might lend to the reason why she said and answered the question the way that she answered it. I see women who honor their husbands, regardless if he's on the side of the road selling oranges or whether he's the CEO of $1 million company. She's a millionaire though. All right, so exactly. This is the point that I'm happy that you said that, Jersey. She's a millionaire, right? She's a millionaire. So if you're a millionaire, if at a certain point, what up, Ashley Larry? What's going on, my brother? At a certain point, once you're a millionaire, it doesn't make a difference what your man is doing. That shows me that you're thinking about what other people's perception of you, how other people see you. You want someone who's going to be by your side that is on the same level or higher than you, which is fine, but that comes with a cost. And very rarely does a millionaire, this is where I'm going to get in trouble, but I got to tell the truth. Very rarely, no matter how pretty she is, very rarely is someone, if she's a millionaire, then that means she wants someone on her level or higher. Very few millionaires are going to pick a 40-year-old woman. I'm sorry. I knew this topic was going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to speak the truth. Even if he's 60 years old, he's still going to prefer a younger woman. She's 40 years old. She doesn't have any kids. And I'm not sure if she's ever been married, but she's not married right now. So that means that she, of course, at her being a millionaire, she has very high standards. I understand that. Okay, so if she's going to find another man, you think a man that's 45 years old, let's say he's 5 years older than her, do you think that a 45-year-old man is going to pick a 40-year-old woman? Most likely not. What up, Nick? What's going on, my brother? So I don't like. First of all, I didn't like the disrespect that she's shown. She's shown disrespect to all the hardworking men. When was being a hardworking man? All right, hold up, Ashley Larry. What up, crazy lunatic? Let's go. I'm gonna go back to the clip so you can hear it and see it and hear it for yourself. All right, let's run it back. All right, let's run it back. All right, let's go ahead and bring it back up onto the screen. Let's bring it back, and then I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna let you hear it for yourself.
fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men
Yes.
in 22
Yes.
of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it, if he owns the bus,
see, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that
all right, let's stop it right there. Let's stop it right there. Because I didn't want to go too far into Iyanla's response before I really tackled what the young lady said. So to say that you wouldn't date a bus driver, most women feel like they wouldn't date somebody. Most women feel like they wouldn't want to date a man who makes less than them. And I don't see that there's anything wrong with that, you know. But you have to start thinking about those things when you're young. It feels like to me that a lot of women start thinking about that as they get older, you know, because when you're young, that standard and that expectation isn't always so high. But when you're younger, that's when your attraction, your market value in the dating world is at its highest. So you can't you can't start to get more choosy. You can't start to get more choosy and more picky about the men that you want to be with as your value is going down. But you wasn't picky or choosy when your value was at its highest. That doesn't make any sense to me. If someone can help me make that make sense, please do. Number two, if this man is making $80,000 a year, let's not talk about millionaires, because very few people are millionaires. Let's talk about $100,000. All right, let's use that as the bar for right now. If a woman is making $100,000 and a man is making, let's say, $70,000, that means your household is bringing in $170,000 a year. Now, can somebody explain to me what is wrong with that? What is wrong with $170,000 a year? Unless you're trying to live like this super lavish lifestyle. But to provide the necessities that you need to build a marriage or build a relationship, what is wrong with $170,000 a year? Whether the woman is making the 100 and the man is making the 70, or however, once you combine the two together, you have $170,000 a year. Let me see what my man Ashley Larry had to say real quick before I keep going. That's the difference between two women. Everybody has different opinions. Go with what makes you happy. If you think like the young lady on the left, you'll be looking for a long time. Apparently, she's not looking for true love. Exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and tag that one. My man Ashley Larry just dropped a bomb in because true love has nothing to do with your occupation. Can we talk about that first? True love doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money that you make. True love doesn't have anything to do with your occupation. And that's why I said very rarely are men ever loved unconditionally. Women love men conditionally. It has to come with a condition. The young lady, Ebony K. Williams, her condition is you cannot make. Hey, Google, how much do bus drivers make in New York City? Okay, I gotta. Can somebody look up?
How much do NYC city bus drivers make?
Yes.
On the website Indeed.com, they say bus drivers with this license earn plus 39.27% more than the average base salary, which is $24.19 per hour.
Okay, they didn't give me. Can somebody look up and tell me how much do bus drivers make per year? Can somebody tell me that? Let's say a bus driver, let's just say hypothetically a bus driver makes $70,000 a year. Let's say that. And a woman makes $100,000. That's $170,000. What is wrong with that? There is nothing wrong with that at all. And for a woman to say that she wouldn't even look at a man who drives a bus, then that's pretty much eliminates about 70%, 80% of the men. But then you wonder why women say that there's no good men, because the criteria for, and I don't want to put it into a race, but I mean, it was a black woman who said it. The criteria that this woman is setting is much too high. It's much too high. And it's sad to hear a woman who's 40 years old say that she wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owns the bus. So you mean to tell me that bus driver can't love you? You mean to tell me that bus driver can't cherish you? You mean to tell me that bus driver can't provide for you? You mean to tell me that bus driver cannot? $42,000 to $57,000 a year. All right, so a bus driver can make from $42,000 to $57,000 a year in New York. Okay, so now if he's making, let's just round that to $60,000 a year, and the young lady is making, once again, let's say she's making $80,000 a year, you're still bringing in $140,000 a year. So you mean to tell me that now, obviously a millionaire, let's say, Ebony K, I don't know how much she's worth, but if she's a millionaire, then obviously she's not going to really want to date a man who's making $57,000 a year. I can understand that. For a city bus driver. And that's why so many women have a hard time finding a good man, because the prerequisite that it comes with a prerequisite of he needs to have this, he needs to have that, he needs to have this, he needs to have that. And I just think that is a very disrespectful statement to make. It's saying that he can't love you. A bus driver can't love you and protect you and provide for you and be a great husband. That's a very terrible message to send. It's a terrible message to send. Thank you, Jersey, for sending me. Her net worth is $3 million. Right. But her net worth financially, that's how much she's worth. What is her market value? What is her market value when it comes to getting married? What is her marriage value? Let's talk about that. What is her marriage value? Okay, hold on. Somebody just left a... When you're dating unmatched, you need two people that are secure. If a woman makes more than me, I have to be secure that she's dating outside of her financial... Recycling, you got to come over to the YouTube. You got to come to the YouTube. I can't, it's hard for me to I can't read the comments. She was engaged, but she's not married and she doesn't have any children. So her bank account is good, but that's not going to help her as she gets older. That's not going to help her. The bank account is not, money and degrees are not going to take the place of what she really wants. And what she really what most women, I think most women innately, she was engaged, but I'm guessing not married. Exactly. And then on the Breakfast Club, it got worse. All right. Here comes the blunt side of me. She could have all the money in the world, but her um hold on, give me a second. Yeah, we can't we're not gonna find love that way. I was on YouTube, it wouldn't let me type what I wanted to say. um Women are gonna have a hard time finding love that way. Women are gonna have a hard time finding love that way. Men are much simpler. We don't should a man finance his wife's dreams, everything that she can imagine, or should he provide for her the necessities that she and her family, if they have kids and children, will need? Where is the limit? Where, at what point do we say, okay, this is what the man is supposed to provide, and are we supposed to finance a woman's dreams? Because in my mind, I feel like a husband is supposed to provide his family, his wife and his family, the necessities. Meaning he needs to be working as hard as he can to keep a roof over his family's head, over his wife and children's head, food on the table, and clothing on their back. And in return, this woman is supposed to honor and obey her husband. Am I bugging? So how can your cutoff point be because he's a bus driver? How can you say because he's a bus driver that you're not with it? See, that's the problem. Jersey says, she said it's not about bus driving, it's about settling for mediocrity. How can you determine what is mediocrity to someone else? That man might be happy. That man might be as happy as can be. He might be the best bus driver in the world in New York City, and he's happy as can be. He could be a really great man. So how can you come to the, not you, Jersey, but how can anyone come to the conclusion that because he drives a bus that he cannot be a good man, a good husband, a good partner? That doesn't make any sense to me. And that is exactly why she's 40 years old. And I'm not attacking her. These are the facts. She's 40 years old. She's not married, and she doesn't have any children. And with that attitude is going to be, and she's pretty. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. She seems pretty on the outside. You know, on the outside, she's, by just looking at her, oh, she's a pretty woman. You know, but pretty and beautiful are two different things. You know, who are you to judge someone else's mediocrity? You know, how can she say the bus drivers or anyone that's in that type of occupation is mediocre? That's a terrible statement to make. I watched a little bit of the Breakfast Club, clip, but I wanted to come to the source material first. Ashley Larry said, with that $3 million, she can buy all the cash she wants to get older and happily by herself. What Steve Harvey say? Steve Harvey said that women are the table. I heard him say that recently too. And that is, you know, Steve Harvey has the pander to the women. So I'm gonna give Steve Harvey a pass because he says stuff like that all the time and he panders to women. But let's go back to the clip. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back in here. Let's hear the rest of it. All right. Let me run it back to the bus driver. Let me run it back.
He owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
All right, let's bring it back.
can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it, if he owns the bus,
see, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And
okay, now I have a problem with what the doctor said. I got a problem with what the doctor said. She said that she would get married with a bus driver, but she would keep her stash on the side and make him sign a prenup. And yeah, you got to look at Ebony's face. You can see it all in her face. That's why. See, this is when you are, as a woman, you out there in the workforce, and as you get to that $3 million. Okay. It said, there's a problem. Look who's talking about emotional values, and look who's talking about monetary values. For Ebony to get to that $3 million mark, that means she had to be out there swimming with the sharks. Swimming with the sharks to get to that point, right? A lot of women, they just said in the major cities, women are out earning the men. So for them to swim with the sharks, that means that they have to be aggressive. That means they have to, it's like, it means that they have to go out there and be a go-getter. They have to go after it. And that takes an aggression. That takes a masculine energy because you're competing with other men. You're not just, if you're making $3 million, you're not only competing against women, you're competing against men also. So that means that you are dealing in a masculine energy, and that world is masculine. So you have to become a little bit more aggressive. It's hard to be soft-spoken and docile and feminine in that world because you have to be aggressive. You have to be a shark to swim with the sharks, or you're going to get eaten alive. But it's hard to switch that off once it's time to get into your personal life. Now you still have that masculine aggression in your personal life. And a real man that's really going to love you and cherish you and take care of you is not going to stand for it. He's not. Whether he's a bus driver or whether he's the CEO of Amazon, he's not going to stand for it, regardless of how beautiful you are, especially at 40 years, especially at 40 years old. He's not going to stand for it. So now you're going to climb this corporate ladder. You're going to get all this money, and then you're going to be like, all right, it's time for me to find a good man. But you have no idea how to cater to that good man and be a good woman because you've been in that masculine energy for so long that it's going to be very difficult for you to get out of it and be able to submit to a man, especially if he's not making the same amount or more money than you are. So you are putting yourself in a conundrum. You're putting yourself in the problem that you're complaining about. You have to have an understanding of what it is that men are looking for in a woman. And if a man is looking for masculinity in a woman, then you have to question that man. Why is he why would a man be attracted to masculinity? There's nothing wrong with a woman being assertive, but it is something wrong with a woman being too masculine. Now, before she got into the bus driver comment, she said a lot of men, she actually she actually stuck her foot in her mouth. And I'm going to explain to you how she stuck her foot in her mouth with her statements. And Lord knows I ain't no PhD, but common sense is common sense. She said that women are 80% of the head of household in single parent households. The women are at 80%. Right? So then doesn't that mean that the men that women of all ages are complaining about, men are not leaders. They're not go-getters. They're not as educated. They're not as financially stable. Can I ask everybody a question, a very important question? And she answered it, but I'm going to ask it again because it seems like it went over her own head. Who are raising these inferior men? Who are raising the inferior men that you are now complaining about? I'll wait. If 80% of single households are ran by women and men are inferior to women in this day and age, can I ask a question? Who raised those inferior men? We all know the answer. She gave us the answer, and it's actually counterproductive to her own argument. But it's probably hard for her to see that because she doesn't have children. The women are the ones who are raising these inferior men that now the older women are complaining about. The women are complaining about the same men that are being raised by women, but will not hold any of the women accountable. If women are raising all the kids, and if they're raising all the men, then who's responsible for the lack of leadership in the partnership? Who's responsible for it? I ain't pointing no fingers, but I just want y'all to answer that question. You know? Let me see what my man Nick said. That woman my mama's age, and it's a different world at 35. It's the women. Women are raising. Tom said they can't teach what they can't relate to. Exactly. They can't teach what they can't relate to. So therefore, they need to take time and understand what they need to really encompass as a woman, as a wife, and as a mother before they decide to lay down and engage and then have children. Because obviously, if 80% of single households are being ran by women, then that means a lot of women are out here making very bad decisions about who they're having children with. They have to make better decisions then. Because now you're going to be put in a situation where you have to raise this little boy. And they're not equipped to raise them properly. That's why you need a mother and a father. That's why you need a mother and a father. Let's go back to the look at her face. She's just like, look at how she's looking. You can look all in her face and in her eyes that is like it's eating her alive. That this woman is hitting her back in her head with facts. Let's bring it back.
And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete.
Mm.
We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. Okay? Because you're a black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
I think that's a factual analysis. For whatever we want, expect, we're told we were going to get, we got to look at the numbers and what's available on the marketplace. So you're certainly not wrong in the analysis. And Yana, let's tell the truth and shame the devil. We know what you got in that prenup was, it would never be little. It'll never be small. Child, that's a big old mound of assets. But that's okay. Let's spend a little more time just so we're really clear in this conversation, Dr. Van Zandt, difference between masculine energy and feminine energy, because I know that is not necessarily gender assigned, right? This is bigger than that. This is bigger than genitalia, right?
Right. Absolutely. When we talk about man is mind, woman is heart. And so many of us have guarded, broken, closeted hearts that we do everything from here. And here, you know, as a woman that's been educated, that, like you said, has a degree, here will run out. Here will lie to you. This will never lie to you. But we've been taught not to trust this. We've been taught not to trust our knowing, our intuition. But a man can have a good idea and be brilliant, you know? So we want to have good ideas. But for us, our power is in knowing, and it's in getting that intuition and moving on it. That our power is in what we feel, not necessarily emotion, but what we feel in our body. But so many of us are out of touch with our body. We'll give our body to somebody else before we really get in touch with it ourselves, because we're so busy doing till we don't know how to be. When I talk about feminine energy, again, I'm talking about the grace, the compassion, the humanity. I'm talking about mercy. I'm talking about silence, stillness. I'm talking about flow and movement. I'm talking about speaking from a place of intuitive knowing, love. I'm not, and that's not the masculine way. The masculine way is justice, structure, power, it's control. That's masculine. Feminine is dominion, not control. But most of us, many of us, I'm in recovery, are control freaks. So it's a whole nother way, a whole nother vibe. She raises her hand. There's a whole nother vibe that we can tap into, that we have.
Let's stop right there. Now, she raised her hand. Y'all seen Ebony raise her hand. Dear Ebony. You seen her raise her hand, and that is the side effect of being worth $3 million. She cannot. Boom! Guess who stepped in the room? His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. What up, Jay Clay? That is the after effect of being trying to be in a relationship or looking for love, and you worth $3 million. Who the hell is she gonna submit to? Who is she gonna bow down to? She can't. She wants to be in control. Who is she gonna listen to? She's not gonna listen to anybody. She's not gonna listen to nobody, because she can do everything on her own. She don't need a man for anything. But you cannot go against your nature. It's something innately within us that draws men and women together. You're not going to be as happy as you can possibly be if you live your life completely alone. Women are much more social creatures than men. You know, men can get into their energy and say, you know what? I'm fine with just being by myself. You know, but very few women are more social. That's why women are more into working with people, and men usually are working on things, where women are usually dominating when it comes to working with people. Women are more social. So how can you make a living being social, interacting with people, but be completely happy in solitude in your personal life? Define dominion. Hey Google, what's the definition of dominion?
Here's the definition of dominion: sovereignty or control.
Okay, being able to control yourself. Sovereignty or control. So that means that, and we all know women can be very emotional. All right, let's see what Jersii had to say. She's equating money with control over power, and that's not feminine energy. That will attract a potential partner. So Nick, dominion means for a woman to be able to be under control, even if her emotions may be getting the best of her, being able to control yourself in the heat of the moment. And usually when a woman starts to get upset, they lose dominion. A lot of men have to calm their women down when they start to get a little bit out of control. And that is what a leader does. A leader is a leader, and a real masculine man is able to look at the situation and be able to control it before it gets out of control. Jersii said a woman who knows her feminine power will have dominion. Exactly. She'll know how to control herself, and with that feminine power, she'll also be able to control the people around her. But oh, my bad. Hold on, let me get the invite ready. My bad, J. Clay. I didn't even see it. All right, I just put anybody that want to jump in and join the conversation with us, you feel free to jump in, all right? So yeah, you have to be able to have control over yourself, be able to control yourself in the heat of the moment where you don't let your emotions get the best of you, because that's when you start to make irrational decisions. That's when you start to make you start thinking with your heart instead of thinking with your mind. Just like Mrs. what's her name? Van Zant. Exactly how she said, your mind versus your, and I've never listened to this doctor, but a lot of the things that she's saying, I've said in the past. You're supposed to think with your mind, not with your heart. A lot of people think with their heart and feel with their, and try to feel with their mind, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, and that's, and it leads to it can lead to so many problems. It can lead to so many problems, because now when you can't have the men and women be able to get together and form a marriage, a real partnership, a real union, then you're going to continue to perpetuate these broken homes and broken families, and it's not going to get us anywhere. So for her to say that she would not date a bus driver, and a bus driver is living in mediocrity, there, like I said in the last show, if you are happy, you cannot be a failure. You can't be a failure if you're happy. And if that bus driver is happy, then God bless him. And obviously the young lady Ebony isn't happy. You can see, as the doctor was speaking, you could see it was sizzling in her spirit. She wanted to jump in. She wanted to interrupt. She wanted to give, and that's because she didn't even want to bow down to her elder. She didn't want to bow down to her elder. But let me pause for a second, because I got to bring my man. Let me give my man his proper introduction. You might know him from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. Bring it to the stage, North Carolina's own Mr. J. Clay. His mama named Clay. I'ma call him Clay. What up, Jay Clay? Welcome to the stream, my brother.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, Jay? How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Feeling good today.
All right, wonderful. All right, did you watch the clip that we played? First of all, shout out to Jersey Devil for sending me this topic to talk about tonight.
I actually heard about the topic through the Breakfast Club app, because the Breakfast Club talked about it. So I heard about that video, talked about it at my job too.
Okay, so let's get into the gist of it. All right. Mm-hmm. So the young lady said that she would not date the bus driver unless he owned the bus. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Because we just did, I did some research on her. She's 40 years old. Mm-hmm. She's never been married. She doesn't have any children. Mm-hmm. Jersey just looked up her net worth. She's worth $3 million. All right. So that's her net worth. Okay. So we also looked up the amount that a bus driver makes could be up to from $42,000 a year, let's say upward to $60,000 a year. All right. Mm-hmm. So she said her making her let's say she's making $500,000 a year. All right. And she's saying, ain't no way in the world I'm going to date a man who's making $60,000 a year.
Okay.
I can understand that coming from a female's point of view, because usually women want to date upwards. They don't want to date downward. Mm-hmm. I can completely understand that. The only problem that I have with that is also one. I have two major problems with it. One is disrespecting all the people, men and women, that make the world go round.
Gotcha.
The frontline workers are the people who make the world go around.
Absolutely.
So you're disrespecting all of those people. And two, you're equivalating love and money. Because that bus driver might be the best husband and the best father that you could ever find, or she could ever find in her life. But just because of his profession, he's automatically eliminated. What do you think about that?
So I took it in three different ways. The first one was that's her preference. I don't, me personally, I don't take offense to what she said, because she's a millionaire, so she probably is used to dating men who are of her she surrounds herself with other millionaires, so I feel like that's what she is going for.
Right.
People in, I think Jersey said her tax bracket. People in her tax bracket, that's her preference.
I'll bring Jersey.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I have no problem if that's what you want. Date who you want to date. At the end of the day, though, it comes off like you're putting down those essential workers. Now, if you want to date a millionaire, that's fine, but don't come over here. It's kind of like these black men who are out here dating other races but black women, but then putting black women down. Like, okay, why do you got to do that? Like, if you don't want to date a black woman, that's your preference. Don't date a black woman. But by you not dating them doesn't give you the right to put them down.
Okay.
So I feel like with what she said, I think the delivery was a little wrong, or people took what she said out of context until you hear her actually break it down. But I do feel like, hey, if that's what she wants to be with, hey, if you want to, if a bus driver ain't for you, then it's not for you. But what did she say? She said she could have said that better than calling blue collar worker mediocre. Definitely, I agree. Because these are okay. Because perfectly, I was listening to the Breakfast Club today, and they talked about it. They said that the problem with a lot of these celebrities, the problem with a lot of these celebrities are higher classes of men and women, they look at everybody that's lower than them as average or mediocre, and that's a problem. That is a problem, you know. But I definitely think that how she said it was a little out of character, but I don't think that we should bash her for having a preference for her.
No. I'm not.
Not you. Not
Right,
you,
no.
but
But
just
I'm not even looking at it as. I'm not even looking at it as. I'm looking at it in a more grand scale, because there's a lot of women who feel the way that she does.
Okay.
I'm not gonna date anybody that makes less money than me. So I'm saying even if we take the conversation from her, like let's take it off of her. For the most part, most women don't want to date a man who is making. What up, BX the Great One is in the building. What up, Cheating Deaf? What's going on, my brothers? Most women don't want to date a man who is making less than them, and I understand that. But don't you think that that's counterproductive to the family and to love and family? Because whether he's making more money than you or not, that does not mean that he cannot provide. It doesn't mean. I said earlier, if let's say I make $70,000 a year, and I'm dating a woman who makes $80,000 a year, we bringing in $150,000 a year into our household
together. Yeah.
Unless you living in a palace, where can you not make it on $150,000 a year?
True.
So then, what is wrong with that?
I agree.
So for her to swing back and say that that's mediocre is disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree.
It's disrespectful, bro.
That part I do agree with. It like I said, the way she worded it is very, very much disrespectful because me and my wife makes more than me, and I'm not ashamed to say that. My wife does my wife makes, I think, anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 more dollars than I do a year.
Okay.
But with that, my wife has never been the type of woman to dog me because she makes more than me. Because she'll tell you, I'm a better saver. Like I save money better. I I'm not one that plans to spend money. I don't spend money before I get it.
Right.
Makes sense. But my wife will tell any and everybody she loves me more because I don't wear a chip on my shoulder of the fact that she makes more than me.
Right.
Because for me, if a man can sit here and be okay with you making more than him, you should respect that man even more because that tells you it's not about power to him. Because let's be honest, there are most men out there who have to make more than a woman, right? Because they feel like it's some type of control.
That shows insecurity.
Exactly. So for me, and this is for the ladies who feel the way that old girl feels. If you meet a man and you make more than him and he don't care that you make more than him, he is there to love you. That should make you love him even more because that tells you a part of him is not insecure about the fact that you have a higher stature than him.
Right. Jersey said, even if he makes less, he's still head of the household.
Exactly. And my thing is, today's society is so focused on if the man makes more or less. What happened to he loves me? He treats me good.
Exactly.
He treats his mother good. He's good with the kids. He's good with me. He nurtures me. He protects, makes me feel protected. I feel loved. I feel listened. When he listens, I feel like he listens to me. He gives me those other qualities that shows me he loves me.
Right. And see, that's why, and I hate to say it this way, but I gotta say it this way. That's why, although she said, I don't know if you saw this part of the video, but Ebony Williams said that in the major cities, women in 22 major cities in the United States, women are out earning the men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna speak to it from this lens because I'm a black man, and those are two black women that were having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And she also said that black and Latino women are becoming entrepreneurs faster than any other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you also go and look at the numbers, they're making more money, they're more educated, they're more entrepreneurs, but they're the least married.
Okay.
There is the problem. You're focused on the money and the education and all of these things, but these women are the least married. Black women are the least married. And at the end of the day, we're going to have to find some type of balance between these two. That's why the doctor said that it's kind of like the criteria that women are measuring men on now is becoming outdated. It's becoming outdated. Hold on, before I go any further, let me read what Nick said. Why make her uncomfortable at the family reunion? She wants to introduce you to her dad and the guy who owns the trucking company, not the inner city bus driver. You got commercial driver's license and choose the lowest job in the field. Well, I don't think a real father would be embarrassed if a man is standing by his daughter's side and he loves her and he treats her right, and he's married. He's standing by her side in marriage. If that father is embarrassed by that, then that will give you a reason. That'll help you understand why the daughter
is the way she is.
That'll teach you. That'll teach you why women say exactly what Ebony K. Williams just said. That type of father, or that type of mother, or that type of upbringing, telling you, all right, hold on, let me.
Yeah, Jersey Devil cooking in the comments.
All right, hold on. Women complete school 2 to 1 and go on to earn college degrees 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Married. She said, Kevin Samuel said, go ahead and marry that degree.
Can you speak on this real quick? Because I gotta say this. I need women to understand this.
I agree with you on that one, Nick. A good woman should make you step your game up, but she also shouldn't come into your life and talk down on what you have accomplished in your life. Well, see, that was the comment that Ebony made that caused the uproar. It wasn't just the bus driver comment. It was also saying that the bus driver is mediocre. What if that bus driver is happy being a bus driver? What if he's fine? What if he feels like this is the top of my game? This is what I want to do. Teachers don't get paid that much, right? Teachers don't get paid a lot. So are the teachers that are teaching all the children all across the United States, are they all mediocre also?
Exactly.
That's the problem with the statement. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay Clay. Go ahead, bro.
No, you're good. I just need I need men and women to understand that when you get so wrapped up into money. Now, okay, obviously we all know we need money to survive, right?
What up, Joanna? Welcome to the stream.
We all know we need money to survive. We all know we need money to just to live. But that is not the end all be all. You know?
It's not.
Because you have people who are not as rich as the Commonwealth, but are happy, being able to go to a good job that they like. I feel like in today's society, we are so focused on building a list and trying to get what's off that list. So you got like 15 things on the list, and the things you care about are not going to always stay the same, because you can start off balling, but you ain't going to always be balling. Shit happens. COVID happened, and look how hard that struck people.
Right.
So it's not always guaranteed. Money should not dictate love.
Absolutely. Love and money do not mix.
Because my thing is, okay, she said that she don't want in order for her to date a bus driver, he has to
own the bus.
He has to own the bus. Okay. So let's say you meet a man who owns a bus company, treat you like dirt, beats the hell out of you every day because his company lost $10,000 in a day.
Right.
So now he coming home beating the hell out of you. Or it may not be physical abuse. He mentally abuses you, verbally abuses you, because he feels like, you know what? I make more money than her. I control her. I'm in power of her, all because my money is longer than hers.
Right.
Why would a lot of these things play into that role? Think about it. It's not always about, and I'm not saying that bus driver ain't gonna cheat on you, because it happens. But my thing is, you're putting a man
being a bus driver has nothing to do with it, though.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Like,
that's the whole point.
A job, you're judging this person based off their job. Like, okay, I'm a custodian.
Jersey says she's saying in order for her to submit to a man, he can't be average or work a mediocre job. Well, and see, that's where she's disillusioned, though, Jersey, because you know what? She's not going to be able to submit to any man because she's been in her masculine energy for too long. She's been in it too long. That's who she is now. So we see it with the celebrities all the time. We see it with the celebrities. All right. I'm going to give you an example. Look at, let me see. Okay. Look at Rihanna. Let's use Rihanna as an example.
Okay.
Right. Now, I could have sworn, I don't know all her dating history, but I know at one point recently she was involved with someone who was like a prince or something. Like he was like worth $1 billion, like worth more than her.
You talking about Rihanna or Janet Jackson?
No, Janet Jackson was too. Okay, actually, you know what? I think Janet Jackson's situation is we're more common with that. Janet Jackson. Now, you know the Jackson name is royalty. Janet went over into another country or somewhere and married someone who was a prince somewhere, right? And she had to leave him because she couldn't submit to him. And he was worth more than her. But she still had to leave. She couldn't stay. Look at Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, when she came out, she was like, you gotta be with the president, be with the baller, be with the head, be the leader, be with the boss, be with the player. And she ended up being with some dude from the corner. She didn't pick somebody that was higher than her. She picked somebody that was lower than her. You know why she picked somebody that was lower than her? Because she knew that she would be able to remain the dominant person, the masculine person in the relationship. Because he ain't going nowhere because she's worth millions of dollars. So even if the dude did own the bus, Ebony Williams still wouldn't submit to him. And then let's say in a world she did submit to him, right? Hold on, let me bring up Joanna's comment. She said Jay-Z and Beyonce is true. Money doesn't make anything better, it makes things worse. And then she said after getting out of jail. Exactly. So now let's look at it like this. If the dude did own the bus company, do you think she would submit to him? If he owned the bus, would she submit? Do you think she would submit? Probably not. And then, okay, let's say she did submit. Let's say, okay, as a woman, you found someone that is, you worth $3 million. You with a guy that's worth $10 million, right? His net worth is $10 million. Okay. So as a woman, for her, let's just speak on her right now because she made the statement. For her, as a woman at 40 years old, let's use the key word here. At 40 years old, right? Do you think that man even if he's 45 years old, do you think that he is going to marry and be faithful to a 40-year-old woman?
Ooh.
If he's worth 10 million, or is he gonna date her, play around with her, and keep her in rotation? But in actuality, he's really going to go and if he is going to marry anyone, it's going to be a woman who's 22, 23 years old that can have tons of kids for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's if we're going to talk about it, let's talk completely and all the way about it. You know, let's talk all the way about it. Let's see what Jersey Devil had to say. The bar would be raised to another hurdle if he had to do in order for her to submit. Exactly. You cannot turn, and I said this before we even got into it. I said this months ago. You cannot turn either you are a feminine woman or you're not. Either you are a masculine man or you're not. You can't turn it on and off. It is who you are. So for a woman to say, I can be masculine for the right guy. No, you're not you're not. I mean, I could be feminine for the right guy. Although you living in this masculine energy, how do you turn it off?
That's true.
How do you turn it off?
I have not met a woman to answer that question yet.
Joanna said, but that 22, 23-year-old woman would be able to be trained.
See, I don't like that. I don't like
that terminology.
As a man, I'm not here to train you. I'm here to respect you, love you, care for you,
and be a leader.
Yeah, but
that's the problem, Jay Clay. Women look at if a woman puts the man in the leadership role, it's kind of like she's looking at that as a bad thing. When in actuality, if you have a good man who loves you enough to invest in you and he wants to lead you, that's a beautiful thing. The problem is most women can't see that it's a beautiful thing because they have allowed the wrong men to lead them so many times in the past. So you're gonna squander all your good years when you're 24, 25, 26, 27, playing around, going through certain phases. And then when you're at 40 years old, now you want to raise the bar so high. Why wasn't your bar raised so high when you were at your peak?
Yeah.
You can't raise your bar higher as your value goes lower.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Right now, at 46 years old, I can't walk down in Soho and demand one of these supermodels, one of these 22-year-old models better come talk to me. I can't demand that unless my value is high enough for me to demand it.
Yeah.
At 46 years old, I could demand it, but I would have to be at a much higher stature than I am right now currently in my life. And I can understand that. I can relate to it. It can resonate within my mind, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at 40 years old, you can't say, well, he has to have this, that, and that, because you don't have everything that man is looking for either at 40 years old, especially if you want a man that is on a higher level than you. Okay, Jersey said, young women aren't trained. They have seen the consequences of the feminist movement and they'll say, yeah, we'd rather be in our feminine energy instead, in my opinion. Right. A younger woman, unless she jumps full-fledged into they know how to wield that feminine power. Exactly. Unless she's like at a very young age, a full-fledged feminist, most younger women know how to use their femininity. Because when they're young, their femininity, they're first of all, it hasn't had a chance to become tainted or jaded yet. As you get older, you become more callous. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Joanna says, send me the link so you can explain. All right, come on and jump on in, Joanna. I would love to hear a woman's perspective on this.
Absolutely.
All right, Joanna. All right, the link is in the comments.
Yeah, I think I feel like this. nobody should have to, man or woman.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should have to jump through hoops in order for a relationship to work. And what I mean
Right.
by jump through hoops is, if you see me jump through one hoop, don't keep raising the hoop higher and higher for me to jump through.
Okay.
Because you're getting me exhausted to the point that when you finally get that high and you realize I'm not jumping no higher, you didn't appreciate the stuff that I did jump through at the beginning to get to you.
Right. All right, hold on. Hold that thought, J. Clay. Let me bring Joanna in real quick, all right? Because she in. All right, so Joanna is in the queue. Let me go ahead and let her knock on the door. All right. All right, Joanna, make sure your camera's straight. Everything is good. Make sure your voice is good. Remember the last time you was on? We need that same. I don't know if that was with your headphones, with your earbuds, but it was super clear last time. We need that same clarity. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring Joanna into the stream. All right.
Joanna. That's my heart, Montana.
Hold on, J. Clay. Let me see. What up, Joanna?
Am I clear, or do I need to take them out? No.
You need to take them out. They always bet it's better without them. All right. All right, we're gonna. Okay.
Okay, am I clear now?
Oh, that's much better.
Good.
Okay.
Much better. Don't ever use those earbuds again. You sound much better without them. Trust me.
They fired.
Yes, those earbuds are fired. You sound no. All jokes aside, you sound 1,000 times clearer without them.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I thought you guys were really joking, like, because they're so comfortable and just like so easy to talk to, but they're horrible. But okay.
All right. So Joanna, I don't know if did you see the clip that we played earlier?
I did not know. I told you I was late. I'm late to the whole thing.
All right, I'm gonna bring it up one last time so you can take a look at it. So you can really understand where we're coming from and how this conversation started. All right.
Okay.
So let me bring it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me add it to the stream, and let me go over and start it back. All right. Let's see. I think it started around the 12-minute mark. All right, let's start it from here.
He owns the bus.
That's
absolutely. There you go. It started right there.
They are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria
you need to jump into this conversation
to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. Okay? Because you're a black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
I think that's a factual analysis. For whatever we want, expect, we're told we were going to get, we got to look at the numbers and what's available on the marketplace. So you're certainly not wrong in the analysis. And Yana, let's tell the truth and shame the devil. We know what you got in that prenup it would never be little. It'll never be small. Child, that's a big old mound of assets. But that's okay. Let's spend a little more time just so we're really clear in this conversation, Dr. Van Zandt, difference between masculine energy.
All right. So before let's address what we watched right there first. All right. All right, Joanna, go ahead and jump in. Now that's what sparked our conversation. So now you can understand where the conversation started from.
I can see that. That's not for all women. That's not how.
Right, we're asking your opinion right now.
My opinion, I think she was dead wrong for what she was saying and how she was responding, because a job is a job, and like it's the memories and like stuff that you build is what happens. Like it's what makes a whole relationship. So like what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, and then when we bring it together, it's ours. You know, so like when we buy a house, we have cars, we go on vacation. Like these are experiences that we all are able to enjoy together. So it's like, it's not like I'm paying half the rent. Like that's not what it is. We're paying our mortgage. We're paying our electric bill. We're paying the food. Like, so it's not a separate thing, especially if we're in a relationship. Like,
no, we talking about marriage too.
Okay. I'm marriage. So yeah. Right. So like if he's going to work, most likely that man is possibly going in there and he's making the money. He's going on in overtime. Because if I be like, hey babe, let's do this. Like let's like really work it hard and like get to go on this vacation to Hawaii. So he's gonna do that. Like, so it's not that the amount of money that he makes, it's the way that he does it, like the way that he shows me that like he's capable and willing to like provide for me and like go out there and like work for me and work for us and work for our family and to like make sure that we have happy moments, make sure that we can go to an amusement park and like have fun throughout the whole day. It's not about spending money, like going to Chanel. It's not about going to like Paris and all that other stuff. And like, it's about the little memories that we make with our families. And like, I'm talking about with kids, if you have kids apparently, but if not, if y'all two, like making memories. And her whole vibe was just off.
All right, hold your thought right there, Joanna. We about to bring in Jersey Devil's in the building. We about to bring Jersey Devil onto the stream. All right. So let's bring Jersey Devil in. All right. What up, Jersey?
Hi, everybody.
Feels like a Hershey makes some noise from this Jersey.
How you doing?
Good. How's everybody?
Everyone's good.
Blessed.
All right.
This is my first time using my phone, so let me know if I sound weird.
No, you sound fine.
No, you sound
Everything
good.
sounds good. All right. So also for clarity, Joanna, Jersey is the one who sent me this clip for me to react to it and start the conversation. So Jersey, I want you to give your thoughts on it, since it obviously struck a chord with you and you sent it to me for us to talk about it on the show tonight. So let's hear your opinion on it, what you think about it. What do you agree with? If you agree with anything, what do you disagree with? Let's hear what you think. What you think about what she said.
Okay. So there's like multiple parts to this whole situation. First, she did the interview with Iyanla. Then she did a separate one on her podcast where people felt like she doubled down. And that's where she started calling like essential workers and bus drivers, etc., mediocre or working mediocre jobs. Not the people were mediocre, but that their jobs and their income was average and mediocre. Then she went on the Breakfast Club and tried to backtrack a little and clarify what she meant. And then that's when everybody was giving their opinions and was more anecdotal stories. But what she was saying, which I agree with, which is still a little controversial, she's saying that given today's climate, this is what I think she meant to say. given today's climate and the cost of living in certain areas, and when you're raising a family, working those type of jobs is average. Oh, you're going to make an average salary, not the people, but the job. And your earning potential will only get you so far. And that's if you get injured or something, your job will replace you and you won't have nothing to, in your name. You're not owning anything. You're a worker at the end of the day. But so I kind of agree with that if, businesses will replace you, AI will replace you. So she's talking about ownership, having something where you're the employer and not the employee, which I agree with. But what I take issue with, and then she also clarified that if you're happy and you're, maximizing your skill set, being that bus driver, then good for you. And she's happy for you, but you're not her potential partner. But what I like that the Breakfast Club did is they're saying that certain people have different doors open for them. We have to acknowledge systemic racism. We have to acknowledge, what they're teaching in certain schools, like in minority schools, they're teaching trades, which there's nothing wrong with a trade. But what I have issue with her is that she's equating money with submission. And I will only submit to a man if he makes more money, because making more money to her means that he's able to provide and he's able to run the household and he's able to hold it down so that she's able to submit and be feminine, when that shouldn't be the case, because money does not equate a provider or a leader. Mm-hmm. And so while I agree with her that certain jobs you will cap out and you have to have like a secondary or a third hustle, and people experience that with COVID when they lost their business and everything. So you were once making this money, but you got replaced. So I agree that certain jobs bring in average incomes, but that the people are not average. It's the income for that job may be average. And so she also further explained that when COVID happened, the Black community occupies the majority of blue collar workers. And because we're in those jobs, we're affected more when COVID hit and we died at a higher rate. And so I felt like she was kind of talking in circles to try to make up for the fact that she was calling people mediocre and average, when I think she meant to say that the earning potential for certain jobs will put you at an average income when you're talking about a family. But what she got confused is that when you have a 2 household income, what you bring in together is not average. What you bring in by yourself is average. And so she's still thinking with this single mindset, when the end goal for her is to be married and to transition into a 2-person household.
And not work, basically. That's what
right.
I think. The whole basic, I think what it trended down to was that she didn't want to do anything afterwards. Like once she found her savior in all aspects, because that's exactly what she's looking for. This is what I'm getting from the whole, what you're explaining and what I heard from her, what she was saying. She wanted somebody to come in, like be able to be like, hey, stop working. You don't have to do anything. Just go ahead and do what you want to do and get your hair done, get your nails done. Go ahead and do it. No.
Well, for her, I don't think that's the case. Well, at least from what she explained, she comes from, a family that worked, and her mom was a bus driver and had several hustles, and her grandfather and great-grandfather. So she's not shy from working. She is worth $3 million. She writes books. She owns properties. So she does all of this stuff. But what she's saying is that for her to feel safe and provided for and protected, the man has to earn more money than her in order for her to get those things. Yeah. And so while I agree on the job aspect, that, and only because I went through that at my high school, they put us in trades, and it was never imparted that, here's some business classes, here's how you can own. It was almost like they were teaching you how to be renters and how to be consumers. And so I agreed with that aspect, that certain schools and certain areas teach different groups of people different things. Mm-hmm. I agree with her loosely on that. What I took issue with is that she was equating a man's salary to what she is willing to do as a woman and submit to him. That's where it got problematic in her statements.
Okay, so now she had an opportunity to make her original statement and then hear what everyone had to say in response to her original statement, which was if he owned the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had the opportunity to go back and say, all right, now let me figure out what I'm going to do to control the damage that I made with that statement. So
And
it's
she
easy
chose
to
to double down.
right.
Mhm.
It's easy to come back. It's easy to come back and say, okay, wait a minute. Let me clarify what I really meant when you see the backlash that you've received. But when you're in the moment, she said, and she had time to think about it. She said, if he owned the bus, and she said it like, and I said what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows you that's what she really meant. Now,
She pulled a Nene.
whatever she went back and doubled back on and doubled down on, that's what she thought about. That's what she had time to think about and come back and have a rebuttal. We talking about how she really feel and how a lot of women actually really feel. And a lot of women actually see things the way she sees it. A lot of women like, look, I'm not going to date a man that makes less than, I'm not going to marry a man that's going to make less than me. A lot of women feel that way. And like y'all both said,
she
everybody
had the
said
opportunity.
they have the right to say that. They have the right to say, look, I'm not going to date a man who makes less than me. But my question is, how can you, like you said, Jersey, how can you equivalate what this man does for a living with how he can treat you as a husband or being a great father? Now, if she's worth $3 million, then that means she got enough money on her own to maintain herself.
Yeah. And
well,
so then
she had enough.
Right. So then that's what a real union is about. Jersey, if you worth $5 million and I make $500,000 a year. Once me and you get married, we worth $5,500,000 because we're supposed to be unified now.
Yeah.
What she said on the first interview, she had a chance to clarify and double down. And then on the Breakfast Club, she had a chance to clarify. She still stood by her original statement, but then she tried to provide context. Like, oh, well, it's really about Black ownership. And it's really, this is why I said what I said.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm not in the business of protecting feelings. I'm going to call it like I see it. And I would not, at the end of the day, regardless how anybody else feels, I would not date a bus driver, but,
right.
and then she, provided all this other stuff that was irrelevant to the point. But at the same time, that's two different mindsets. And I think, Jay Clay, you touched on it too, as well as you told that when you're single, you think that way because you're providing for yourself. But when you're talking about getting your mindset ready to be married, that everything is joint. It is not, and that's why I took issue with Iyanla, who said, well, I'm thinking about a prenup and I'm thinking about this. You're still thinking with a single.
I said I had an issue with her saying that too.
We're in a joint. If you're gonna marry someone, like take that step to in the eyes of the law to unify together. It is a joint household. And so the income is joint, how you raise your kids is joint, how you set goals for your family is joint. It shouldn't be, I'm coming in here to protect myself in case this goes south. Because if that's the point, you shouldn't be marrying that person. And that's a different mindset that people aren't ready for more oftentimes than not, because they've been bitter and they had to do things on their own, and that's how they've been raised and that's how they live their life. So when they get to that point where they're ready to get married, that's all they know. So that's all they continue to perpetuate. But you have to think that when you're ready to be in a union with someone, that includes unifying everything together.
Exactly. And the reason why even the doctor would not get married to the bus driver without a prenuptial agreement or without having a stash egg on the side for herself is because at the end of the day, most powerful women are not going to submit to any man. That's why she's going to make sure that she's going to keep something on the side for herself, just in case he act up. So when he acts up, or if he acts up, I can still walk away in power. I'm not going to let this man come in and take everything that I have because now it's ours. No, I'm going to keep what I have so I can maintain my power. Powerful women, regardless if they think they're feminine or not, they're not going to submit to any man because they are in power. They are in power. they're gonna have a hard time following or submitting to anyone.
Some powerful women. I do believe there are some women out there that are very powerful and submit. So
I would love for you to give me an example.
So actually said people with money almost have to think that way. They have an idea of who might be trying to take their money.
I'm not gonna go to say Beyonce. I mean, I can say Beyonce. I can.
No, you can't say Beyonce because she's not more powerful than Jay-Z. I'm talking about a woman who has power, has more power, more money, more influence than the man, and she's actually
an illusion,
subservient
in my
submitted to the man. I have a hard time trying to figure out just one.
I think that saying Jay-Z is an illusion.
Right. So let's take them off the table, but just say it like, what woman that has the power is going to be completely subservient to a man who's making lesser than her?
Oprah.
Barack and Michelle Obama.
Huh?
I say Oprah.
No.
Oprah not really with no man.
Oprah's not even married. Barack and Michelle Obama.
She's not even married. First of all, she's not married.
But her and Stedman dated for how long?
She's not subservient to him.
No, we're not going to do that. I'm Barack and Michelle Obama. You want to know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because
Michelle is not more powerful than Barack, though. He was the president. She was the first lady. The first lady is not of more.
See, you're not seeing the underlying thing. Michelle runs that shit.
No, I don't agree with that, Joanna.
No,
Barack Obama is the president.
He was the president,
right? He was the president, not Michelle. So he was the power.
So you have to listen to what JoJo is saying, because this is the difference between having feminine energy and having dominion, and being a man and having power. Listen to what JoJo is saying. When you are a woman and you have that energy, you have dominion. No matter what the man earns, no matter his title. Barack was the president, but Michelle ran that household. She ran those kids. She made sure Barack had his clothes picked out, food on his table, where he had to be. She held him down emotionally. So she supported him. She was his right hand. He had the power and the title, but she had dominion over that family. He was the head of the household, but she had dominion
because she gave it to him
as his partner.
She gave that, and she gave that power to him. She allowed him to be seen as the king, the one that leads. If you think about it, like I'm not gonna like pillow talk. You don't think he comes to Michelle, be like, "Hey, Michelle, what do you think I should do?"
Exactly.
And what like maybe I should do. Like he went to her to help him decide what was the next step.
And because they've been together since college? I'm pretty sure he came to her for advice. She consoled him. She supported him. He had the power. No mistake. He was the president. He had the power. But when you're talking about dominion, not the definition of dominion, but feminine dominion runs the household. We run the day in, day out. We support the head of the household, but we got dominion over the family.
Yes, and she never made him feel less than. Never made him feel less than. So she always made sure that he was like if there was a decision that needed to be made, go speak to Barack. But he would come back later on behind closed doors and be like, Michelle, is that the right choice? And she'd be like, yeah, I'm with you.
I will give y'all that. I will give y'all that, because I'm a firm believer in that. Now the pillow talk, my wife do, but on certain things, I'm not spilling my homie's business to my wife. That's just I just can't do that. But I do.
You're agree. Not, but there's times that it happens.
Well, I do agree as far as because I've always felt that way too. That if a man is out there working, your husband works 12 hours a day, right? Mm-hmm. Comes home and he's tired. Well, the woman, whether she works from home or goes to work herself, mm-hmm. she comes back because she works 8 hours a day, right? Now, since he's gone for 12 hours a day, he comes home, he's tired, from doing his day of work. she will be that person to make him come home. Food's already cooked, kids are already in bed, kids' homework is done.
That's dominion.
I do agree with that. I do believe that any man, whether it's the president, LeBron James, NBA player,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
that support. Like LeBron James' wife.
I use me as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I go to work from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. I get home at about 5:45. Then I'm off because I have football practice, right? I go to football practice. I come home. The dogs have been walked. The food is cooked. She holds down the fort while I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All she asks me to do is protect her and the dogs when we sleep. Somebody come in the house when they're not supposed to be in here. You got 2 dogs that's gonna bite you in the ass, and a bullet that's gonna be right behind your ass too. Right? So
exactly.
I do agree with the whole the man who was out here busting his ass. Excuse my French. But
yeah, I cursed early, and I hindsight, I was like, dang, family show.
So my question all right, so since we talking about, so y'all telling me that y'all feel like, because the original question that I asked was, I would like an example where the woman is more powerful, but also subservient to the man.
Submissive,
so,
yeah.
Right. So you're telling me, I agree with y'all. I would agree with y'all in assumption, because I don't know what was going on in Barack Obama's house for real. And I don't think any of us really do. But I will agree. I will, for the most part, agree and say, okay, Michelle was holding down the household.
Well, he said it.
All right.
He said that's what kept their marriage
None of us really know
together.
exactly what was going on. But I'm saying, I will agree. If he said it, I'm going along with it. But that doesn't, because she holds the power in the house, that doesn't mean that she holds more power out in the world.
No.
In the world.
I'm not saying in the world.
That's what I was talking about. I said,
I'm not saying
the
in
man
the world
has the power out in the world, but for the woman to have the power out in the world, but then become subservient behind closed doors, I can't think of an example. Now you're just throwing names out there. I don't even know if Dolly Parton is married.
I'm about to say, is Dolly Parton even married?
For like her whole career, yes.
Oh, the missus just confirmed.
I don't even know who Dolly Parton. Okay, if she is subservient to her husband, I have no idea who her husband is. I've never even seen her standing next to her husband.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to stereotype a whole geographic location, but I will say Southern women, and Dolly Parton is Southern. Even if they had the power, even if they had notoriety, they come home, they could make $3 million in a day, and their husband make $5. The food is cooked, his feet rubbed. Southern women are raised with us. Now, I'm not saying now, but back then, Southern women.
Wait a minute. We talking about now, or are we talking about when Dolly Parton was young?
When Dolly Parton was young. When Dolly Parton was young, that's how Southern women were raised. That no matter what you do, how much money you make, the man is the man, and the food is cooked when he get home. He shouldn't have to run behind no kids. The kids should be in bed and washed. The house should be clean. When she was coming up, that's how she was raised.
So what has changed from then to now?
I would say, and I want to say the feminist movement. This is just my opinion anyway.
Okay.
But the feminist movement has taught that we are all equal, which I agree on certain standards.
Okay.
I think it's being raised by women who have been hurt by men who have hurt them, to teach them, be like, you don't need no man to level up. You don't need nobody. You can be by yourself and just I think that's the mentality that this generation that's going on right now, because women, especially in the 90s, early 2000s type kind of things, I feel like the kids that were raised or born in that era, they were raised to single moms. They were raised with single moms with dads who were Rolling Stones basically. Okay. I feel like they have the animosity, like they're just angry, like, so they taught that into their daughters to be like, hey, listen, you don't need no man, so go ahead and do what you need to do. And when your man comes, he needs to do this, he needs to be this, he needs to be that. And like, so that's implanted into their brain to be like, hey, if I want a man that's going to love me, he needs to have this money, he needs to buy me this, he needs to be that, he needs to be this. And like, that's the expression that I got from the little video that you showed, because her, like, when the other lady, what was her, the older lady, I don't yeah, so
And
when she was speaking, yeah, so when she was speaking, the other girl, she was just like, yeah, I don't care, like, I don't care what you're saying, like, like she didn't care about that. All she wanted to know was that, like,
how much money he made.
Yes, he needs to make more money than me. And if there's a moment that I want to quit working, or if there's a moment that I don't want to work ever again, he can take care of me and possibly our family and my family. And like, and that's just a thought process. It's like I said, relationships is a whole full-time job. And like, when you clock out of your actual paying job, you come to this job and you're not getting paid for this. Your payment is love. Your payment is this relationship, this bond, this thing that we're building, which is going to be an empire at some point one day, whether it is 5% or 1,000%, whatever it is, it's going to be something that we enjoy, we love, we build, we make memories, emotions, everything moving forward. So like I said, money is really dangerous. And like, just looking for that in a relationship is horrible. And that's what these females right now in these day and age are looking for. They want a scapegoat. They want a sugar daddy.
I wouldn't say money is dangerous. I would say the what we attach to it as people is dangerous. And so that shift between traditional views of the man being the household, this is that, if that's, your goal in life. But the shift is, we went through a generation of hurt women and hurt people. And hurt people hurt people. And so now we have a group of people who were, they relied on their partner or whoever. They didn't have a skill set, and now here they are at divorce. They don't have anything to fall back on, and so they instill that into their children. You don't need a partner. You can get it on your own. And that kept going. That was perpetuated generationally. And so now it's like, you can go out here, you're just as equal. We can work the same jobs. You can get it on your own. You don't need anyone. And this one was attached to the feminist movement, because they're saying, oh, well, women are just as equal as men in every aspect, which is untrue. And you don't need them to come to the table. You can be the table, and they should be grateful to be in your presence, and all of this, right? And so now we have a younger generation, not the youngest generation, but we have a generation now that's saying it's a gray area. You have one generation that's saying, oh, well, you get that bag, you go out there, you do it on your own because you don't need anyone. And then you have this younger generation saying, wait a minute, if my goal is to be married, they're catching on that all these people that are telling them this are either A, unmarried, or B, saying go out and do it on your own, but they have husbands and children and families, etc. Where is the line?
Or three.
So now
there's a third one, or they're divorced.
Or they're divorced and have multiple divorced partners, and still trying to find love, and they're giving out all these pearls of wisdom, but they're on their 5th, 6th, 7th divorce. And so it's like, now they're saying, wait a second, I do have power in my femininity, and I can use that to my advantage and go back to the traditional roles, because now they don't know where the line is. So I feel that's where we have moved generationally, and that's kind of where we're at now.
What do you think, Jay?
I will say this. I'm not gonna put all the blame on the women, because it's both sides. It's men and women.
It's both sides.
The problem is, you got women trying to tell men how to be a man. You got men trying to tell a woman how to be a woman. Right? Now, I am one of those men who was raised by somewhat of a single mom. My dad was there, but it was kind of a toxic situation, right? But I will say, lot of what the problem is today is you have young men who don't want to be men. And I'm not talking about transgender or none of that. I'm just talking about you got young men out here who want a woman to submit to them. Now, that word submit, for some reason, I don't understand why men and women feel like submit means slave. That is not what submit means. I am so sick of people taking that word submit and making it like acting like it's one-sided. Submitting is two-sided. I will explain how. My wife submits to me because I am here to protect her. I have proven that I can protect her. I have proven that I care about her best interest. I have proven that I am a listener to her. I have proven all these things that I need to prove to her that she knows that she has a secure man.
Right.
And in return, she has proven things to me that I can submit to my wife, right? That's one. A lot of women feel like he expects me to stay home and cook all day. No. But if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's staying. Now, when I say stay at home, I don't mean be at home 24/7, right? But if you are going to be a stay-at-home mom, usually that means you take care of everything inside the house, right?
Right.
You don't have to work if you choose not to. Your decision at the end of the day.
Right.
Now, as a man, if I'm going to ask that woman to stay home, if I am going to ask that woman to stay home, I then need to make sure I work, right? I provide money to the house so the bills can get paid, the house can get taken care of financially. But at the same time, being a man does not stop there. Being a man is taking care of the bills financially, but also taking care of your wife emotionally, spiritually, all that.
Okay.
That is also what being a man is too. I feel like nowadays, like you said, Joanna, nobody, man or woman, wants to work in the relationship. The relationship is a job. And the problem with today's generation, they don't know what a damn job is.
They don't even want to come to work to get paid. Like,
Yes. So,
Right.
so I feel like in order for it to get back to where it was, both men and women need to sit down, kind of like what we're doing now. Talk, have an open mind. Don't go in a conversation thinking that your answer is the end all be all.
That's true.
And that's where both sides, men and women, old generation, new generation, future generation, goes wrong. Everybody feels like their answers has to be the end all be all. Everybody feels like, okay, if Tove don't think like I do, I'm gonna make him think like I do, or I'm gonna persuade him to think like I do. Or if Jersey or Joanna feel like they're right, I'm gonna prove to them they're wrong. You can't, like, not everything has to be right or wrong. You can agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like both sides need to stop. As a man, I'm not gonna tell you how to be a woman. All I'm gonna do is tell you what I look for in a woman. If you decide, you know what, that's me, we can try to make this happen. If it's not you, hey, I'm okay with that. We tried. It is what it is. But as a man, I can't tell you how to be a woman. As a woman, don't tell me how to be a man. Now, you want to tell me how to be a good person? Because when you say a good person, that's a good person, just general. You're just naturally good. You can tell me how to be a good person, but when you tell me, oh, well, you're not men enough. Well, what's your definition of men enough?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you tell me your definition, I'm going to tell you, well, baby, that's not exactly being a man. That's just telling me your preference of what a man is to you. That's all it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I believe is the biggest difference from back then to now is, one, as human beings, as a society, as a culture, especially Black culture, we have completely taken God out of the equation. God is an afterthought. He's an afterthought for most of us, because the younger generation is not thinking about marriage. They're not thinking about husbands. They're not thinking about legacy. They're not thinking about family. They're thinking about side hustles and getting rich and getting naked and tattoos and spandex and twerking on Instagram and OnlyFans and trying to get rich, and how can I scheme and scam my way to, and all of those things are perpetuated by greed, vanity, all the things that the devil comes to you in a lot of different disguises. He comes to you as exactly what you want, what he feels like you're going to fall susceptible to. He's going to come to you as the way that he feels like you're going to. He's going to come to you in a way that he feels like there's no way that they're going to be able to resist this. The devil is in plain sight now, and he has taken over. And now that's why the family is falling apart. That's why everything is falling apart, because things are so far off the kilter, off center, that we are in chaos. You can see it within the kids. You can see it within the children, within the kids. You can see it within the adults. You can see it within the content that we listen to, the content that we watch. Everything is in chaos. That's number one. Number two, once you start putting it into a woman's mind, you know what? Like Joanna said, you don't need no man. You could do it on your own. Okay, yes, you're absolutely right. As a woman, you can do it on your own. You can make all the money in the world, and you can do it on your own. But you know what you cannot do successfully on your own is raise those children properly. Yeah, because the children, no matter how much money you make, those children need their father and their mother. So the young lady, Ebony Williams, in her video, she said 80% of single households are ran by women. So my question is, who are raising all of these terrible, mediocre men that the women are complaining about? Who's raising them? Women. Women are raising the same thing. The same people that women are complaining about are being raised by women, but women are not holding each other accountable for it. Somehow it's still all on the man. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it right for a man to have sex with a woman and procreate with a woman and walk away? No, it's definitely wrong. That's not right at all. But who decided to lay down and open up her legs? Who decided that?
Let me ask you a question though.
I want you to answer that question. Who decided to lay down? I want you to answer that question. Y'all can hit me with any rebuttal that you want, but I'm just asking, who decided to have the child? Who controls whether the child comes into the world or not?
The Lord.
Okay. Yes. We're gonna go. Okay. Mom decides whether the child comes or not because she has the right to her own body.
Exactly.
The idea of
government now.
Yeah, right, true. The idea of like these women raising these mediocre men, I'm a little I'm a little taken back by that because like no, I'm not
saying that. I'm asking the question.
Okay, so I don't believe that these mediocre men are coming from single family like mom, just like mom raising the boys.
Right, but I'm just telling you the statistic that she said. You probably didn't hear that part of the video, but she said 80% of women, single households are ran by women.
Yes.
So then who are raising the mediocre men that the women are complaining about?
Honestly,
who's raising the majority of them?
Okay, so our boys nowadays are different from when they were back in the day. I'm going to say that. This one, they're more sensitive than when they were back in the day. So single moms raising boys back in the day, again, we're looking at the idea that like they were also angry at men because they had a relationship. Maybe they're angry at their father. So like maybe they're treating their men or their boys really horrible, and like now these boys have a stigma that like when all women are like this, so I need to have my guard up and like I have to treat them a certain way. So it's really like a cycle that goes around with these single family, like these single moms like raising these boys. Like they're not mediocre for, like, they were trained to be that way. They weren't born that way, you know, like, so it's like, this is a habit. This is like a trained habit. Like they were, maybe mom did allow certain tactics or behaviors to go through, and like when they got into the relationship, they found somebody who resembled mom, and this girlfriend is now allowing these same behaviors to keep going, and now she's angry at him because she's like, why are you acting like that? But like, well, you let him do that. Like you let him do that. So it's like, it's a big really cycle. I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
No, I understand what you're saying, and what I'm saying may come across as harsh, because it's very difficult. Don't get me wrong. I was raised by a single mother. So I know it is very difficult to hold mom accountable for her decisions, because damn, mom was doing the best she could. She held it down by her damn self, but you still have to be able to hold her accountable for the decisions that she made. You still have to. It's hard to do it. It's hard. I know it's hard to do it, because one, as men, that's a woman. You don't want to be too hard towards a woman. That's number one. Number two, that's your mother. You definitely don't want to be so hard on mom. That's mom. What is you doing? What is you talking about? But mom can make mistakes too.
Yes.
Mom can make bad decisions too. That sometimes we have to talk about it, because if we can't have that conversation, then we can't really get to the solution. Because to answer the question, the people that are raising the mediocre men that young lady was complaining about are mostly women. That's the honest truth.
Who've been hurt and who just don't care.
So it goes full circle to what I originally said. And what I originally said is we got to be closer to the creator. Everyone may believe in what they believe in, but we got to be closer to the creator, because if we was closer to the creator, we wouldn't be having kids with people that we barely even know.
You know, now that I think about it, that is true, because
we wouldn't be having most of these problems. We wouldn't be having if women wouldn't allow themselves, giving their bodies to a man that they don't really see a true future with. And then that adds to the broken household. It adds to the broken home. And now that adds to the problems that the children, the men, the little boys and the little girls are going to grow up with these problems. And then they got to figure them out as they get older. Some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us struggle with it. Some of us see it clearly. Some of us never figure it out. But it's all adding to the problems. And I haven't even spoken about a boss, excuse my language, a boss bitch or a boss bae. And I ain't even spoke on that yet.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about that yet, because I don't want to come across as if I'm attacking women, because I'm not. I love women. I was raised by a woman, but we have to be able to have these conversations, because we need men and women to raise the kids. And that is at the root of most of these problems. So the kids are being raised by one parent, mostly women. And I don't think women are fully equipped to raise a child on her own, and also be an entrepreneur, also have a full-time job, also be in school. Someone or something is going to have to take the back seat. And from what I see, it seems like the children are the ones that are taking the back seat. And then they grow up to be weak men, and then we complain about the weak men. That's how I see it.
That's true. I wouldn't say solely that is. I would say there's blame on both sides when it comes to
but it's 80% of the women raising the single children. So 80% of the blame has to go to the women, and 20% go to the men. If 80% of the women are the head of the household in single family household. So the majority is the problem is the woman.
Solely is raising the child. I would say it's the women raising the child, right? Doing the best as you can. Not taking anything away from single parent households, because you know you can only do what you know how to do. And you don't know where the deficits lie, because that's not your skill set as a woman to provide that masculine role, right? So you can only provide what you know of what you've seen, right? The other aspect of that is society is going to fill in where the deficits are with that male child or with that female child. So now they're learning that the woman has to do it all. She has been doing it all. And now society is reinforcing that. And so now you go out into the world having only seen a woman do it all. Now you expect, kind of what Jojo was saying, now you expect a woman to do it all because that's all you know, that's all you've seen. And then society has told you this is how you treat women, etc. So now you're just perpetuating the same cycle that you grew up in, that you see, right?
I agree.
But also too, I feel like and you said too, Tove, I feel like we have to call it out because there's fault on both sides of the table. Whether you thought that, he was telling you everything that you wanted to hear and you thought, okay, I heard all the right things, I'm gonna have a child with this man. But it's taking that time to slow it down and getting to, bring back meeting the parents or who raised you, meeting your side of the family. I need to see what you're about first before we start sharing body fluids. And so, it shouldn't go off of what he told me and this is what he said. And I didn't know he was like this before we laid down together. Well, how could you have known that after a week, after a month, after 2 months, right? And then the same with men too. You go out there and you have one goal in mind and you're not thinking about 9 months later. You're not thinking about, okay, now I got to stick around. And now she's expecting me to do things. My mom didn't do that. My mom didn't ask for that. She did it by herself. So you should do it by yourself. So it's just this cycle, right?
Yeah.
It's a cycle that keeps going without people slowing it down to say what is at the root of all of these issues.
Right. So Jersey, can I ask you a question?
Oh, okay, real quick.
All right, go ahead, Jay.
I want to play.
I feel like we stopped letting the community help and started letting society help.
Right.
And the internet.
And so what I mean,
internet is raising the kids too.
What I mean
and
by
the
that,
Google.
for example,
and the Google,
Google. For example,
the Google machine.
I will say, for example, early 2000s, when some of the parents had single homes, you had your village, you had grandparents. If for whatever reason dad wasn't involved, you had Paw, you had Uncle so and so, to instill that masculine or to instill what a man was. You had your grandpas and you had your uncles. Now, my problem, I will say, where I hold men accountable, and I know it seems like in society, a lot of women feel like men don't hold men accountable, but you'd be surprised. I've known people who've lost male friends because one male friend decided, you know what, I'm not taking care of that kid. So then why'd you fuck without a condom? Now, granted, yes, the girl did let you go inside her without a condom. I agree. But bruh, as a man, this is why I feel like you need men in your life.
Right.
If she is willing to let you have sex with her without a condom, bruh, say no. Don't do it. You have just like a woman has the will to say no to who she wants to let inside of her, you have the will to say you have a right to say no to go inside of her. Just how we tell these young girls and these young women, respect your vagina. Bro, respect your penis. I don't care how fine she is. If you know you're not ready for a kid, bro, wrap it up. Now, granted, I know condoms break, but at least when the condom breaks, you attempt it to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be going in there raw dogging, because we all know what happens when a man explodes in a woman. She can get pregnant. Right.
But that's a point too that you brought up, and I'm glad because I was trying to make that point earlier. But I lost track of it. Is that when you're in a single parent household, generationally, you had that village. Mom had to do it all. Dad had to do it all. You had people raising you. Then you teach your kids, okay, well, you don't need to rely on other people. You can do it all. Here's how I did it, XYZ. And now we're in a generation where you can go get that bag. You can provide for yourself as a woman. You don't need no man. But they're missing the point that evolved the way it is out of survival. That's not how it should be. That was a survival instinct that kicked in because that's how it was. That doesn't mean that we should maintain it. And that is where the confusion lies.
But I blame the parents for that because...
But that's also too... I was gonna say what you were saying, like the parents, you can blame the parents for that, but like that's also like, again, it's a cycle. Like this is what they also went through and learned how to deal.
And you're right, and that's why I blame them, because it's kind of like those movies you see where one of the parents is mean as shit to the kid, and it's like because their parents taught them that. But my thing is, and this is why I hold us as parents as responsible. You know how it feels to go through that. So why would you instill that on your child? There's no excuse for, because I'm sorry. Just okay. For example, y'all seen teenage daughters argue with their mom, right? And usually the teenage daughter is rebutting her mom because that's the teenage in her. She rolls her eyes and rolls her neck, all that stuff we wouldn't dare do, right? She got that from her mom, because nowadays parents today are trying to be their kid's best friend. That's my issue. One.
Here is the issue with that. I can't stand behind blame the parents, because as an adult in our big old age, after the age of 25, you can't be running around having kids or having sex with all these women and say, well, I blame my parents. You a grown ass adult. If your life, if the goal is to be married, but you are perpetuating or continuing these toxic behaviors, have some self accountability, or have people in your circle to hold you accountable. Seek therapy and say, hey, this is the cycle that I'm stuck in. Help me figure it out. You can't run around and say, well, I blame the parents because this is how I grew up. That doesn't get you anywhere, because people are looking for someone to blame other than taking self accountability.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. I don't say blame the parents, from 18 and up. No. What I mean by I hold the parents accountable is because a lot of these kids start these traits at a young age, right? Okay, for example, you go to work, Jersey, and let's say you have a daughter who's 13, 14. Now you have instilled in your daughter, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, all those things, right? Let's say you instill that in her. All right. Well, while you're at work, she's at school, right? Everything you taught her not to do when she at school, all that go out the window. My mama ain't here. My mama ain't gonna tell me what to do because she way over there, right? That is when I hold those kids accountable, because you know right from wrong. You're not young. You're not dumb. You don't do it at home. I expect you not to do it wherever else you go, right? That part I hold. Where I hold the parents accountable is, don't sit here and tell your daughter, oh, go out here and get your money. You don't need no man to do this. But then you got 5 niggas coming out your house at a different time. Bruh, don't tell your son, oh, here's a condom. Learn how to use it. And you ain't wrapped up since Jesus was on the cross. When your son got 15 brothers out here that he don't even know. That is where I hold the parents accountable.
Yeah.
Now,
misleading.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, my battery's about to die, so I have to get off the line.
But I think everybody made a good point. I definitely agree. I like conversations like these.
I know, I do too.
All right. Well, Jojo, I before it cut off, let me tell you, thank you so much for jumping into the conversation. I had no idea that I've been up here. We didn't watch the clip. This show was like 2 hours and 14. I looked up. I said, Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus, it's almost after midnight. But see, that shows you that that's when the conversation is getting really good. And when Jersey sent me this clip earlier, I said, Lord, this is going to be a good topic, but I'm going to get canceled because I one, like Jay Clay said, you got to carry yourself a certain way if you want to be a good parent. And I'm speaking on this and I don't have any kids. But the reason why I can speak on it and I'm very passionate about it is because although I don't have any kids, I also haven't lent myself to the problem. I don't have any children. I've never been married. I don't have any children. So I'm not adding to the problem. Now, if I have 3 or 4 kids, Tony, what are you talking about here? You ain't no different than nobody else. But at 46 years old, Lord knows that I have dodged a lot of temptation.
You never shut.
I could have had a lot of kids by now, but I said no. This ain't right. I'm not gonna do this. This ain't the right way to do it. And I'm telling you that we gotta have these tough conversations, and we gotta be able to hold everyone accountable, because and I wrote this on Facebook a couple of months ago, and boy, them women crucified my black ass, but I'm sticking to it, and I'm not. If we can sit here and openly talk about deadbeat dads like it ain't nothing, then we also have to talk about the insufficient mothers. We got to talk about both sides of the problem. We can't just say, oh, deadbeat dad, deadbeat dad, deadbeat dad. That's a common phrase, but you never really hear anything about a deadbeat mom.
Oh, that's
because it's so hard for us to touch that topic.
Yes.
It's very hard to touch that topic. But in a lot of ways, our mothers, although they were trying their best, in a lot of ways, our mothers have failed us. We don't want to talk about it, and I get it. And I got the heart to talk about it because my mother failed me. And I would tell her to her face, I love her with all my heart, but she failed me. But I figured it out.
Well, my mama failed me, making me think Santa Claus is real. I still ain't know that.
It is real, first of all, J. Clay. Okay. Santa's real for all you young viewers out there. Don't let J. Clay come in here and talk this foolishness.
I'm sorry.
The magic of Christmas is real.
I'm still hurting. I apologize because that wasn't for y'all. I don't want.
Jojo, you want to give any fun words before you go?
Yes. Next topic. We should talk about toxic upbringings and what made us change.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's bring you up to the what you said.
So toxic upbringings and what made us change.
Okay, that's a great topic. We could talk about that on Tuesday.
Yes.
You gonna be here?
I want to tell y'all I love y'all. Like I just had to come on because I was like, I felt
we love you, Jojo.
We love you too.
I didn't even get to explain myself about how like the young women who get into older relationships are being trained because like you know what? That's a different day.
We'll pick that up. We'll talk actually next week Thursday. We can talk about that very topic. All right. I'm gonna hold that topic just for you. Okay.
All right. Well, I love y'all. I love that you guys accept me and love my craziness because Joe's in the house and I'm with the unity.
All right. You didn't even need me to prompt you this time. All right, Jojo. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and productive weekend. All right.
All right.
God bless you and your family.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Later.
Blessings.
I also have to get up out of here, but I wanted to say thank you for talking about this topic. When I saw it, it caught my attention, and I said, you know what better platform to talk about it amongst us who can have these conversations. And because it's so divisive in the Black community specifically, I can only talk about our community, that we've all been raised different ways. And I think us as a race, us as a community have not been unified under a common goal to see what is at the root of our issue and how we can start to unify together under a common theme or a common goal, or to try to address some of the issues with these broken homes and a lot of these things. So I appreciate you giving me the time to present this topic to you on Instagram and then talk about it. And we can agree to disagree, but I think at the root of it, we all are saying the same things, and saying how can we start to come together to mend some of the damage that has been done generationally in our community specific. So I want to say thank you for that. And I enjoy the conversation as always, and the comments and J. Clay's point of view, JoJo's, yours, everybody's point of view. I think it only adds to the conversation and sparks new questions on what we can talk about as a people, not just in the Black community, but as people as a whole, on how we can heal ourselves from our past traumas. And especially when you're talking about these mature topics. And I love the varying age range, so we get multiple points of view from different age ranges on this platform.
Absolutely.
So
Miss Jersey, before you go, do you consent to my intro for you?
Did I what?
Do you consent to my intro for you?
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I said skin like a Hershey, Give it up for Miss Jersey.
I like it.
Okay, as long as you consent.
I love it. I consent.
As long as you consent.
I consent.
All right. Thank you so much, Jersey. Thank you for sending me the clip. You definitely gave me a whole lot of content tonight and a whole lot of ammunition. And I just hope my channel is still here after the YouTube hear all the blasphemous things that I said. please, I just want the black family to come back together, y'all. I'm not anti anyone. I'm pro family. That's what I am. I'm pro family. Thank you so much, Jersey.
Well,
God
see
bless
what
you.
clips come from it and what type of traffic it brings.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna be in so much trouble. All right, Jersey. All right, Jersey. Have a wonderful evening. God bless, and thank you for joining the community. That's all about a unity. All right, later, Jersey.
All right, later, y'all.
All right, then it's left right back where we started. Me and my man Jay Clay. You got any final words for the people, Jay Clay?
Oh,
bring you to the front of the stage, man. We got into a lot of deep conversations tonight, bro.
Hey, you said you wanted to, do something different, baby.
We really spoke about it tonight, man. I hope. Look, it was a good conversation though. I enjoy it.
I appreciated it. Look, I enjoy getting insight. Look here. Let's talk about it real quick. It's gonna be real quick, small. I appreciate any woman that's willing to give a man a chance to listen to them and then listen to them and then them listen back. We need to show the world. I know social media got the world thinking that it's men versus women out here.
It's not.
But it's not.
We need to come together.
Anything if tonight did not prove that, I don't know what will. There are real men out there that love real women out there.
Exactly.
I don't care what nobody says. I do not see a woman as my competitor. I do not see a woman as the op. I look at you how I was born and look at you as my equal. Now, take that word equal for how you want it. But just how we are equal in knowing our own rights, let's be equal in giving love.
Hey, great. That's a great way to end the show right there, my man.
Let's just be equal. We get a lot of the bad. It's time to. I heard that
we give a lot of blame. Let's give that the same way we give the blame. Let's give that love to one another.
Let's start building each other up like we should be.
Absolutely.
My grandma used to always say, every building got a blueprint. Every building started off as a piece of dirt or a piece of rock.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's continue to build together. Stop letting these silly stuff tear us down. Let's show love, spread love, because it's easy to hate and be angry and be mad. It's really hard to love.
All right. Thank you so much, Jay Clay. Let's hit the outro, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's your boy, Little Fat Mushy Toe, representing the WCIS. We can inspire someone. OPP only promote positivity. Shout out to Waterbed Head. Shout out to Uncle DV. Shout out to my man Jay Clay. Shout out to Joanna, and shout out to Jersey Devil, and shout out to the community that's all about a unity. All right, Jay Clay, thank you so much, my brother. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on the show on Tuesday, bro.
Y'all be safe. Love y'all.
All right, later, man. And then there was little old me, your boy, Little Fat Mushy Tove. Listen, I know I said some things that might have ruffled some feathers. And what I said was not coming from a place of malice. It wasn't coming from a place of disrespect. It wasn't coming from a place of hatred or any of those things. What I want is for us to be able to get down on our hands and knees and dig at the root of these problems. We have to dig at the root. The root can go in a lot of different directions. So that means we have to pull at all of these roots. We have to uproot them. And some of them are things that you might not want to talk about. You might not even want to think about it. But we have to talk about it. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to talk about a future and a good future between men and women, we have to come together as husband and wife to create a family, to raise the children. Sometimes men are at blame. Sometimes women are at blame, but we all need to be held accountable to fix the problem. I hope y'all understand where I'm coming from. 9 to 5 average men and women who are working on the front lines are not mediocre. They make the world go around. Love should not be put and balanced on a scale between love and money. It should not be. So whether you own the bus or whether you're driving the bus, as long as you're a good man or a good woman, hopefully you'll come across another good man or another good woman who is willing to accept you for who you are and love you equally for the love that you give to them. And hopefully, once you come together with that person, you're able to build and go on and create a family, because that's what this world needs. We need unity. We need family. We need brotherhood. We need sisterhood. We need neighborhood. But the last thing we need is to continue with this hood mentality. And a hood mentality is, if he ain't got no money, I ain't checking for him. If she ain't trying to give up this tomorrow night, I ain't trying. We got to stop with that. That's not going to get us nowhere. But let me stop right now because I've been talking for too long. But this was a great show. Great show, great conversation. Outro one more time. It's your boy, Little Fat Mushy Tove. I want y'all to stay blessed, stay beautiful, but most importantly, stay positive. And until next time, thank you for joining the community that's all about a unity. All right. Have a great weekend. God bless y'all and good night. Later.